Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of the horror show at Extreme Rules 2020. Interesting pay-per-view, I must say. Shout out to everybody in the chat room for watching live, and shout out to everybody watching this live stream. If you enjoy it, please subscribe, turn on notifications, and tell a friend. Spread the word. Let's go ahead and get right to it because I'm sure a lot of you are curious to know my thoughts on these very exciting matches that we saw this evening. We kicked off with the kickoff. We had a kickoff match, which was Kevin Owens versus Murphy. Some people upset about Owens being in the kickoff match, but hey, at least WWE put on a match that was not built up at all, really. And Kevin Owens, to be fair, has been on and off television for the last several weeks. I did not have a problem with Kevin Owens being on the kickoff in this instance. Match was solid, good kickoff match here, back and forth. Murphy got in some moves on Owens, a couple of near falls, hit a brain buster, a Meteora from the top. Owens kept kicking out, and then Murphy went for a second Meteora, which Owens countered and hit a super kick, followed by the stunner. 1, 2, 3, KO picks up the victory. Now, I do have a few super chats here, and I am going to ask you guys, if you're going to send a super chat, please try to stick to the topic and stick to the order of the matches so I don't end up going all over the place. I'll read these few super chats right now, but I'm going to try and stick to the topics as much as possible. Bobo Beware with a $2 super chat says, Alexa Bliss looked so hot as Sister Abigail. Thank you for that. And Power Packers 90 with a $2 super chat says, was this WWE Extreme Rules or WCW Uncensored? For those of you that did not watch Extreme Rules, you might see that comment and wonder what the hell happened with this show. Rest assured, I will be discussing it in full. I did tweet about the show, at least certain matches having a WCW feel to it. TJS with a $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, spoiler, my grade is W for WCW 2000/Thunder. A lot of WCW comments regarding this show. Hab Connell with a $5 super chat says, I'm working in Texas this week, so I was not able to watch No DQ video. Did somebody unlawfully take what is mine? Yes, unfortunately for you, Hap, Adrian came in and reclaimed the Super Chat Championship, but that's a whole other video series, the No DQ in a video series, so stay tuned for the next one. Maybe you'll get your championship back. Mike B with a $5 super chat says, well, for the most of the show, it lived up to its name, the horror show, mostly horrible. And that comes from Mike B. Thank you, Mike. I appreciate it. Dylan's Wrestling Stuff with a $5 super chat says, hey, Aaron, what's up? Well, I'm here doing the video. I'm alive. I'm thankful for that. And you know what? I'm going to say something positive because people will say, oh, you're always negative about WWE. You're just going to complain. I liked the fact that the actual pay-per-view was only 2.5 hours. I can get behind that. Even if the show was terrible or completely ridiculous, I can get behind a 2.5 hour show. When the main show is shorter than Raw, that's great. That's great in my opinion. I am a supporter of that. If we're going to have a crap show, at least let it be a short crap show and not a 7-hour crap show, if you know what I mean. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, I'm just glad Ricochet did not wrestle on the show. Honestly, it would have been better with Ricochet on it. I think Ricochet should be competing on the shows. But Psycho, I know you tend to be on the anti-Ricochet bandwagon. You're the leader of the anti-Ricochet camp, so you're going to say what you're going to say. Curtis Butler with a $2 super chat says, long version of WCW Thunder tonight, G. Thank you for that. And Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat says, If anything, this pay-per-view makes me want to tune in to TV. I'm guessing tune out of Extreme Rules and onto something else. Let's go ahead and get to the main card. Now, again, if you guys are going to leave a super chat from this point forward, please try to stick to the topic. The current topic is our opening match, which is a tables match between the New Day and Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura, who Michael Cole likes to refer to as Shin. Oh, Josh meant tune into Raw and Smackdown. So we had this tables match. And to open up the pay-per-view, we had this horror movie style video package. I'm just going to say this right now. If you're going to do a horror themed pay-per-view, do it in October. Why did this have to be in July? WWE should bring back Halloween Havoc and get rid of Hell in a Cell, in my opinion. But of course, I don't think WWE is going to do another horror style pay-per-view now because, well, they just did it in July. Whatever. So anyways, in this particular tables match, only one person had to go through the table for the finish. I honestly prefer when it's both members of the team having to go through the table because you can do more table spots. Like, what's the point of a tables match if you're just going to have one table spot? There were several unsuccessful attempts during the match, and I've seen better table matches. This one was good, but I think they could have done more with it. I would have liked the stipulation with both guys having to go through the table. New Day ended up stacking two tables, one on top of the other, on the outside of the ring. And you know how this goes. The person that usually sets up the table ends up going through it. And sure enough, that's exactly what happened. Big E got taken out of the equation, and then Cesaro, with the help from Shin, managed to powerbomb Kofi from the top all the way down through the two tables, thus resulting in new SmackDown Tag Team Champions. I was wrong on the very first prediction of the night, not counting the kickoff. Well, we didn't do predictions for the kickoff. So first match, wrong prediction. I guess I had hope that WWE wasn't going to hot potato the tag team titles. It just feels like the titles keep bouncing around, I guess, so New Day can continue to break the record with having the most title reigns. I'm not sure who mentioned it on our predictions video, but that person was right. New Day loses just so they can regain the titles again and continue having the record number of title reigns. It's ridiculous. I'm not a fan of the titles hot potatoing all the time and another tag team basically thrown together winning the titles. Bobo Beware with a $2 super chat says, Big E angry after the match. New Day may break up finally. Yeah, do not count on that, Bobo Beware. I'm guessing New Day will win the titles back next pay-per-view, 2 pay-per-views from now, something like that. And Walter Cruz with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Walter. He says, at least Cesaro has a pay-per-view win. First one this year, I believe. I cannot confirm that because, well, I just don't remember that kind of stuff. But I'll take your word for it. It would not shock me if Cesaro has been losing every pay-per-view except for this one in 2020. And let's see here. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat says, I thought they would have retained W ? With their new shirt. Yeah, I think I brought this up on one of the streams, and it might have been you, Josh. You said New Day have a new shirt out, so really doesn't make sense for them to lose the titles. But WWE books very strangely sometimes. I don't know what to tell you on that one. When Naomi won the Women's Championship and she had the Glow Championship, I thought she would be champion for a while. WWE could make the replica titles and sell them like hotcakes, but she quickly lost the title. And she's been pretty much losing ever since, to the point where there's a Twitter hashtag, Naomi deserves better. So I don't know what to tell you, Josh. WWE, they are an interesting company, that's for sure. And Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, I want Sheamus and Cesaro back together. Yeah, I think I brought this up on one of the streams, and it might have been you, Josh. You said New Day have a new shirt out, so really doesn't make sense for them to lose the titles. But WWE books very strangely sometimes. I don't know what to tell you on that one. When Naomi won the Women's Championship and she had the Glow Championship, I thought she would be champion for a while. WWE could make the replica titles and sell them like hotcakes, but she quickly lost the title. And she's been pretty much losing ever since, to the point where there's a Twitter hashtag, Naomi deserves better. So I don't know what to tell you, Josh. WWE, they are an interesting company, that's for sure. And Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, I agree with you. On one hand, I'm happy for Nakamura that he has another championship, although it doesn't really mean anything, to be totally honest. But yeah, I missed the Bar. They were a good tag team, and I think WWE could have gotten more mileage out of them. Even though they were a team for like 2 years, they worked really well together. They were like peanut butter and jelly. They just had this chemistry that Cesaro has not really matched with anybody else, whether it's Tyson Kidd or Nakamura. Like, him and Sheamus just had that chemistry. It worked. Sometimes it just works. Sometimes it doesn't. Moving on here. So the next topic for everybody is the Smackdown Women's Championship match. Bayley versus Nikki Cross. Now, before the match, Alexa Bliss and Kairi Sane were backstage with a little pep talk, trying to motivate Nikki Cross and Asuka for their championship matches. Alexa and Sasha were at ringside for this match. And back and forth here, Nikki had a pretty good showing. She played some mind games with Bayley, doing Bayley's old babyface taunt. And Nikki ended up rolling up Bayley, getting a near fall. Then Nikki hit a neck breaker to Bayley on the floor and got her back in the ring. And it looked like maybe Nikki would win the championship when we had Sasha hand her boss ring to Sasha handed the boss ring to Bayley, and then Sasha got on the apron. When the referee wasn't looking, the referee was distracted by Sasha. Bayley used Sasha's boss ring on Nikki and then pinned her 1, 2, 3 to retain the SmackDown Women's Championship. Match was good. No real problems with it. And Bayley picks up the victory with some help from Sasha. It was fine. Bayley doing the heel tactic, the boss ring like the brass knucks. It was good. No issues here. Moving on here to the next match, we had what was supposed to be the United States Championship match. But Tom Phillips revealed that Apollo Crews, who was scheduled to defend his championship against MVP, did not pass his pre-match physical because of an injury suffered at the hands of Bobby Lashley last month. Apparently, WWE did not get Apollo tested before the pay-per-view so you could, change the match. But yeah, clearly this is something else going on. I'm not going to speculate on it. People will speculate the obvious reason, but we don't know. Unless WWE says something, or unless Apollo Crews says something, we don't know. Apollo Crews did tweet out something saying when he's cleared, he'll be back to take care of MVP. So anyways, MVP and Bobby Lashley came to the ring. MVP basically declared himself the new United States champion. There was no referee to do a 10 count, nothing like that. MVP just said he wins by forfeit. Lashley put the title around his waist. So I guess MVP's the new champion. I was thinking, okay, this is a typical heel thing, but somebody's going to come out. There's going to be an actual match. We'll get a substitute, right? Nope. No substitute match, nothing. Couldn't even have Humberto come out and do a match with MVP. Nothing whatsoever. MVP is just apparently the champion. So you have a new championship design, and you don't even have a match to crown a champion. The guy just wins it by forfeit. Okay, then. This is an example of why it's good to have an authority figure, at least in a babyface role, just so you can explain some of this stuff. And we'll get to this more in a little bit regarding the lack of authority figures and wrestlers just being able to call the shots. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, the pay-per-views before SummerSlam seem to be so underwhelming. Yeah, I agree with that to a degree. I'm trying to think of like a really good July pay-per-view. It's been a while. Last year's was okay, although I did like the end of days to Becky Lynch in that mixed tag team match. That was pretty memorable. Although, to be fair, I really do not remember much else from that pay-per-view. Was that the pay-per-view where Rollins and Ziggler had the Iron Man match and the crowd ruined it? I'm not sure which pay-per-view that was, but somebody in the chat room let me know. And Jeff says Money in the Bank 2011 is an example of the best July pay-per-view in recent memory. Very good, Jeff. Thank you for that insight. I appreciate it. Let's move on here to the next segment of the evening, which was, oh boy, here we go, the Eye for an Eye match. And apparently the Ziggler-Rollins thing was from 2018 Extreme Rules. For some reason, I thought it was more recent, but it was Extreme Rules, so I was correct on that. Rey Mysterio versus Seth Rollins, Eye for an Eye. Rollins came out with pliers for his entrance, and then Mysterio appeared from behind Rollins, attacked him, the match got going. Mysterio ended up pulling out a toolbox from under the ring. He got a rebar, which you use to help put the ring together. Mysterio tried to use that on Rollins. There was a kendo stick, which Mysterio ended up pulling apart and attempted to stab Rollins with it to extract the eye. I have to say, I was invested in this match. I mean, the stipulation was so ridiculous, but I was curious, and I thought they actually worked a really good match here with this stipulation, with the drama and everything. I did like it. It's a guilty pleasure. Again, the stipulation was ridiculous beyond belief, but I was into it. I have to admit, I was into this match. Now, Ken Terminated by DQ says, why did Rollins regurgitate after the match? Well, I'll get to that here in just a minute. And Adrian with a $5 super chat. The super chat champion is here. Adrian. Thank you, Adrian. He says, this match was pretty decent up until the ending. A pattern for most of tonight's matches. And TJS with a $2 super chat. Thank you, TJS. Says, Kofi versus Joe for the WWE title last year at Extreme Rules. Sad. Oh yeah, I forgot about that one. So anyways, this match was live, by the way. They had the live graphic in the upper right corner of the screen. So we knew with that, there wasn't really going to be any CGI effects. I thought that they were going to do some kind of cinematic match or do something pre-taped and have a special effect, but they did not go that route. So let's get to what happened here, because I know a lot of you are just dying to know what happened, for those of you that did not watch the show. We had a sequence on the outside where Mysterio knocked Rollins into the corner of the announce desk. Referee checked on Rollins. Rollins still had his eye intact, so the match was continued. And they ended up on the other side of the ringside area. Mysterio hit the stomp to Rollins, and then Mysterio started shoving Rollins' eye into the corner of the steps, but then Rollins used a low blow, hit a super kick, hit the stomp to Mysterio, and then Rollins, the same exact spot that he did to start the angle, he drove Mysterio's eye into the steps and then pulled away. Mysterio had his hands covered over his face. Referee checked on him, and then for a split second, we got to see like what appeared to be an eyeball popped out of its socket. And Samoa Joe was like, it's out. Referee called for the bell. The heel, Seth Rollins, prevails, I guess, relatively clean. He hit the low blow, but in a match with all this violence, like, I would say it was essentially a clean win. And this was apparently so graphic and so disturbing that, as mentioned a few moments ago, Seth Rollins puked. He's gonna puke. Okay, Somebody needs to do that right now. Anybody that has video editing abilities, edit that clip of Rollins puking, but have Vince's voice from beyond the mat withdraws saying, he's gonna puke. If somebody doesn't do it, I'll do it. But we need that clip. The world needs that clip. So what does this mean for Mysterio? There's been all the rumors that he's not working with a contract, and there was no Dominic, no Murphy, no outside interference, no storyline development. Apparently it's over. Seth Rollins has conquered Rey Mysterio. Eye for an eye. Nope, no revenge for the babyface. Heel wins in the end. I guess the good news for Mysterio, he was taken to a local medical facility by Charlie Caruso, or Charlie Caruso announced it. I don't think she took him there. She was announcing it. And she stated that according to the doctors, they think they'll be able to put the eye back in its socket, and Mysterio will be able to regain his vision. So he'll be back to normal eventually, unless he shows up at Dynamite on Wednesday and is perfectly fine. That could happen too. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, eye for an eye was better than any Ricochet promo. Ouch, that might be the savage line of the night right there. And Pole Smoker with a $2 Canadian super chat. It's our resident troll who leaves all these. He says he would rather poop in his hands than watch that match. And let's see here. Now, I lost where I was at. Let me try to get back to where I was. Gabe with a $5 super chat says, do you think there might be a face turn for Seth Rollins and a heel turn for Rey Mysterio? No. I don't know if we're going to see Rey Mysterio again anytime soon if he doesn't sign a new contract. Rollins, I suspect he'll feud with Kevin Owens again. Like, they got nothing else really. Maybe when they do the superstar shakeup or whatever, Rollins will go to Smackdown and have some fresh opponents. But I don't think there's going to be any kind of double turn or anything like that. Now let's see here. The game is on 100 with the $2 super chat says, way to go WWE for a cop-out with the stairs spot. Yeah, I was wondering how they were going to do it, and I actually missed the eye being popped out for a second. Like, it was only like a second with the camera angle, but there are freeze frames of it if you haven't seen it. You can find it on Twitter, nodq.com, whatever. I think a CGI effect would have been cooler, but I guess WWE opted to not go in that direction and instead have the fake eyeball like appearing to pop out of Mysterio's socket. And Adrian with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Adrian. Thank you guys for your super chats, everyone. Adrian says, Seth was getting motion sickness. Perhaps he was. You never know. But Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, eye for an eye was better than... Oh, I already did that one, so my bad. All right, I think I'm caught up now with the super chats. Thank you guys for that. Adrian with another $5 super chat says, will Seth Rollins adopt Dominic now to add to his growing family? Who knows? I mean, the way this was booked, it felt like Mysterio was being written off and there's going to be no follow-up with Dominic. I mean, that would have been an interesting storyline to have Dominic turn heel, but nope, WWE did not go in that direction. Psycho Jet Black says, Dominic versus Seth Rollins at SummerSlam? Again, I sense like the storyline's over. I suppose Dominic could show up and fight for his father's honor at SummerSlam. I guess we'll find out on Raw if there's going to be any follow-up with that, if Dominic's going to still be involved. Can't Terminated by Google, I screwed up. Can't Terminated by DQ with the $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, do you think Rollins throwing up is a shoot? If it's a work, then it wouldn't make sense because the Messiah character is supposed to be remorseless. No. I think the idea was that it was just so disturbing that he could not handle it. Like, even he threw up. He was trying to sell just how brutal this was. I mean, that was my take on it. I don't think it was shoot throwing up. I mean, it's a fake eye, you know. He's not going to throw up over, a staged eye being popped out. So yeah, I think it was just to sell how vicious and brutal this really was. All right, let's move away from the eye for an eye match and move on to something, well, maybe not any more pleasant. The Raw Women's Championship, Asuka versus Sasha Banks. All right, here we go. So before the match, Bayley cut this backstage promo, and she was gloating about Mysterio losing his eye as a heel would, and talked about how Sasha's going to pick up the victory. Sasha cut a bit of a promo. Bayley and Kairi Sane were at ringside, and this was a really good match between these two. Pretty long match, back and forth, trading submissions. Sasha did a frog splash, I'm sure a homage to Eddie Guerrero, and then put the bank statement on Asuka. Asuka got to the bottom rope. Asuka made her come back, hit all of her kicks, hit the hip attack, which Sasha kicked out of. Adrian with a $2 super chat says, one word to describe this match, cluster F. Well, let's get to that here. So Sasha ended up slipping off the top rope and started selling her knee like she hurt her knee. Bayley then got on the apron. Kairi tried to prevent Bayley from interfering. Bayley ended up giving Kairi the Bayley to belly on the floor. And then back in the ring, Asuka put on the Asuka lock, was on the verge of winning. Bayley actually got into the ring, brought in the championship. Sasha was tapping out as the referee was distracted. Asuka took out Bayley, and then Asuka went to spit the green mist in Sasha's eyes, but Sasha ducked. Referee got hit with the mist. Referee was incapacitated. Bayley then pulled off the referee's shirt, and then Sasha covered Asuka, and Bayley, as the referee apparently, counted the 1, 2, 3. Nothing was announced. Bell did not ring. Announcers were confused. Bayley then ran over to the timekeeper and ordered the timekeeper to ring the bell. And the timekeeper finally did it. And Bayley grabbed the Raw Women's Championship, gave it to Sasha. Sasha's music started playing. Announcers were very confused, saying, this doesn't count. This wasn't an official referee making the call here. This was going back to earlier when people were making the WCW references. This was total WCW 2000. Vince Russo had to have been proud of this match because this was Russo. Like, this was what you would expect from Vince Russo at WCW's absolute worst. Like, just a complete train wreck of a finish here. Just really made no sense whatsoever. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, why not a regular DQ or countout ending? I guess they wanted to get creative with it and try and get people talking, maybe to tune into Raw to see the follow-up. I guess we'll see if it works. But, I mean, that's what I got out of it. At the very least, we did not pay $50 for this. Like, imagine paying the full price of a pay-per-view and then you got this finish. Like, that would probably kill your business. Josh Mansfield with a $2 super chat says, the two women power trip, great ending, ready for Raw. There you go. Josh Mansfield was a fan of this finish, ladies and gentlemen. And the This Guy Experience with a $2 super chat, thank you for that. He says, I don't care, Sasha and Bayley, greatest tag team of all effing time. Some people are liking it. Time will tell. We'll see if the numbers go up. We'll see if people are like, man, this was so compelling. I'm going to tune into Raw and SmackDown to see the follow-up for it. We'll see. Adrian with a $5 super chat says, thank you, Adrian, and thank you again to everybody. He says, hopefully this leads to all of the gold on the line at SummerSlam. I don't know. I don't know if that's the case or if WWE is going to drag this out even longer with Sasha and Bayley. Who knows at this point? I mean, anything's possible. They could change plans next week. It's really hard to say it at this time. So, with that being said, let's move on to the next match, which was Drew McIntyre versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Championship. Before the match started, Dolph Ziggler announced the match stipulation, which was Extreme Rules for only Dolph Ziggler. And if Drew McIntyre lost in any way, got counted out, got DQ'd, Ziggler would become the new WWE champion. Why not Ziggler just say that the only person that can win the match is Dolph Ziggler? I don't know. Or maybe McIntyre has to have his hands tied behind his back or something like that. I mean, this was fine, but it's like if Ziggler could make any stipulation, like why not take it a step further? Why even give McIntyre a fighting chance? But I guess that's a very noble gesture from Dolph Ziggler to give McIntyre an opportunity to win. So anyways, this match was interesting to me because I told people if Ziggler won the title, I would do a line dance to As Good As I Once Was by Toby Keith on video. And I was a little nervous. I have to be honest with you guys. There were a few times where I was like, oh no, Ziggler's going to get the title, isn't he? So anyways, McIntyre almost got counted out on a couple of occasions. And there was something that was kind of dumb where McIntyre was going to suplex Ziggler through a table, but then changed course and suplexed Ziggler on the floor, which I guess is fine because McIntyre doesn't want to get DQ'd, right, by suplexing a guy through a table. But later on, McIntyre threw Ziggler onto the announce table, and there was no DQ. So apparently, if you just throw the guy on the table, you're fine. But if the table breaks, you're disqualified. So that was kind of dumb, not well thought out by WWE. Jeff Meacham from the Jeff Meacham Network just left in a $5 super chat. Thank you, Jeff. Says, missed saying this earlier. My bad. I'm also 100% with shorter pay-per-views, especially for live streaming. Yes, live pay-per-views, I'm very happy about. And Hamp Connor with a $5 super chat. Thank you, Hamp. And by the way, check out Jeff's content at nodq.com/Jeff. You can follow him. He's got his network with various videos. He does watch-alongs, does rewinds, talking about classic pay-per-views. Make sure you guys follow Jeff, nodq.com/Jeff. Hamp Connell, former Super Chat champion, he says, I was scared they would do something Vince Russo like a boot on a pole match where you have to grab the boot and do your finishing move kick. That would have been quite the spectacle, I have to say. But yeah, that sounds like something out of WCW. They could have done a pole match. They might as well at this point. Adrian with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Adrian. Says, I was pleasantly surprised it was a decent match. I mean, yeah, there was some drama in it, I have to say. I mean, it made Ziggler look like a complete goof. But, I mean, we already knew that going in. We already knew that Ziggler has no credibility whatsoever. So, you know, with the stipulation, at least we thought, well, maybe McIntyre will lose this. You never know. The game is on 100 with a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. He says, WWE made Drew a total badass in this match. I mean, that's the key. The key is to make McIntyre look good, not Ziggler. And with the odds stacked against him, McIntyre still prevailed, you know, kind of what WWE does with their top babyface, whether it's Roman Reigns or John Cena or Steve Austin. You know, McIntyre had the deck stacked against him. This, again, would have been better, not necessarily with a heel authority figure, but where a babyface authority figure could say, all right, Ziggler, you can pick the stipulation, but it has to be approved by the office. It has to be within reason. So that way Ziggler could not book himself in a match where it would be literally impossible for McIntyre to win, because theoretically, he should have been able to do that, right? And Psycho Jet Black sent in a $2 super chat, says McIntyre shouldn't have wasted time with Ziggler. Well, you got to kill time until SummerSlam, right? You know, you gotta fill time in any way you can. So they went with Ziggler. Anyways, back to the match. There was a pretty close near fall where McIntyre was on the outside and he was put on a table. Ziggler did this flying elbow off the top through the table, and then McIntyre got back in the ring at 9, and then Ziggler hit a rock bottom to McIntyre onto a steel chair. McIntyre kicked out. McIntyre had also kicked out of the zigzag, and Ziggler was screaming, "Why won't you die?" Ziggler then started tuning up the band for Sweet Chin music. But then McIntyre kipped up, hit the Claymore, 1, 2, 3, scored the victory, had his big babyface celebration. This was fine. I enjoyed it for what it was. The This Guy Experience with a $2 super chat says, I still don't buy into babyface Drew McIntyre as WWE champion. I mean, it could be because of the lack of crowds. I think that has hurt McIntyre to a degree, you know. If we had the fans there getting behind him, I think that would help. But, I mean, WWE has done a good job of booking him as a dominant champion. I will give WWE credit for that. And apparently, I haven't been keeping track here, but apparently McIntyre was the only babyface that won on this show. I think you're right here. Well, Owens did win on the kickoff. Yeah, I think you're right here. If you want to count Sasha as the winner, I mean, we'll have to see what WWE decides with that one. And then we had our main event, which was a swamp fight between Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt. Cinematic match. It started with Bray Wyatt sitting in his rocker. But before the match, I forgot to mention this. There was a pretty cool Firefly Funhouse promo with Bray Wyatt dressed up like a vampire. And they started to show a recap of the Smackdown karaoke, but then Wyatt cut away from it and blamed it on Rambling Rabbit for screwing around with him. There was also a Braun Strowman video package with him doing a voiceover. Josh Mansfield with a $5 super chat says, still don't know who technically won the swamp fight. That result determines who won the Josh-a-Mania predictions between Tyler, Noah Foster, and I. Well, Josh, I'm going to let you know what the no DQ standing is with the Predictions League here in just a minute. Adrian with a $2 super chat says, swamp by name, swamp by nature. Thank you for that, Adrian. So anyways, Strowman pulled up in his truck. He said, I'm home. Wyatt disappeared from his rocking chair. And then Strowman started wandering through the woods looking for Wyatt. All of a sudden, these henchmen showed up. One of them looked like Harper with the attire. Maybe we were supposed to think it was Harper. Strowman fought him off. And then a version of himself. Strowman was seeing double. He saw the Wyatt family version of himself with a mask apparently attack him with an axe or some weapon. Strowman woke up, chained up inside Wyatt's house, I presume. Wyatt's music hit. He arrived with his lamp. He went on this long monologue about how Strowman can't kill him because he's already dead. Wyatt said he's not Strowman's enemy. They can work together. Strowman said no chance. He's going to send Wyatt back to hell. And then all of a sudden, Wyatt brought in a guy who was carrying this giant snake. It was not Jake the Snake Roberts, but nonetheless, this guy brought over the snake. The snake bit Braun Strowman, and Strowman woke up again by a fire pit. He was attacked once again by more henchmen. Wyatt's henchmen went after Strowman. Strowman fought them off, and then one of the guys fell into the fire pit and caught on fire. We actually had a fire stunt during this cinematic match. The guy presumably burned to death, and then all of a sudden we had a woman appear who appeared to be Sister Abigail. She lifted up her face covering, and it was Alexa Bliss, or was it? Was this all in Bray Wyatt's head or imagination, or Strowman's imagination? I don't know. But Alexa Bliss apparently was playing mind games, or what we thought was Alexa Bliss. I don't know. But this was enough to distract Strowman. Wyatt came in. They started fighting again. And then Strowman got the best of Wyatt. Wyatt reappeared unconscious in a boat. They started fighting again. Wyatt used a paddle board on Strowman. And then Strowman appeared to have drowned in the swamp, but then he popped out of the water. They continued their fight, and Strowman knocked Wyatt into the water, and it appeared like Strowman had finally won. Nick Lavin with a $2.79 super chat says, if Bliss asked me to follow her, I would. Well, thank you for that, Nick. And Adrian with a $2 super chat says, my snake is bigger. We had the credits pop up on the screen. Again, it looked like Strowman was the winner, but then all of a sudden, the water turned red. Wyatt pulled Strowman back into the water, and then The Fiend popped out of the water. The Fiend started laughing, and the show went off the air. Who won this match? What I told everybody going in was that whoever the last person standing at the end is the winner, as far as the No DQ Predictions League goes. So we went with WrestleMania. Bray Wyatt beat John Cena because Bray Wyatt was the last person standing. So for this match, same thing. Last person standing is technically the winner. Thus, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, whatever you want to call him, defeated Braun Strowman in the street fight. Or swamp fight, whatever the hell you want to call it. I have a few more super chats here. One from Psycho Jet Black says, swamp fight better than House of Horrors? I'm going to say no to that one. This one was a bit of a mess. At least the stuff with Cena and Wyatt, they had a lot of fun throwbacks, with the NWO. And I thought the story they were telling with Wyatt and Cena and all the events of Cena's past being revisited and haunting Cena. Like, I liked the whole story of that. This was kind of a train wreck. Like, nothing really made sense. It was just special effects, and really it was just time filler, until SummerSlam when they actually have their real match, Strowman versus The Fiend. Oh, House of Horror, not the Firefly Funhouse. See, I get them all mixed up anyways. I don't know about that one. I'd probably say the Orton match was better, but I don't know. Yeah, I'm mixing them up. I'm getting old, There's so many of them. And there's a saying, going to the well once too often. I think that's what WWE is starting to do here with these cinematic matches. They're doing too many of them now, and this one was a little bit too much for me. Like, I wasn't feeling it. They had fire, which was kind of cool. The Alexa Bliss thing made no sense. I mean, none of it really made any sense. And I was expecting them to maybe do more fighting or, I don't know, something. The lighting was actually not that good either. I was surprised because WWE is usually very good production value-wise, but I felt like it was too dark. Maybe that was by design, but even in movies, if the lighting is too dark, I kind of get turned off of it. Brian Spencer with a $2 super chat says, are we to believe Strowman is dead? Shaking my head. Well, I'm guessing, the police will arrive. Strowman will be taken to a local medical facility, and they'll determine that they were able to get the water out of his lungs and he's going to be okay. Some crap like that. Shanti is here with a $5 super chat. Says, WWE films ought to make a return and make a horror film with Fiend. Also, I give this pay-per-view a D. Also, would WWE benefit on doing an entire pay-per-view cinematic? No, I don't think that would go over too well. Just my opinion. I think people want, for the most part, matches in the ring. And you can do an occasional cinematic match, but again, I think WWE is starting to go to the well once too often with these matches. Just my opinion, though. I'm sure some will disagree. Adrian with a $5 super chat says, it is in bad taste the ending that Braun supposedly drowned, especially after Chad drowning after the lady from Glee. Well, I don't think WWE was really considering Shad, not Chad. He put Chad. Shad Gaspard. I don't think WWE was thinking of that one. And especially not thinking of the lady from Glee. But yeah, I mean, if we're going to call out AEW on it, I guess maybe it wasn't the best idea. I mean, the thing is with this match, they were trying to emulate like Freddy versus Jason. I definitely got Freddy versus Jason vibes from this. You had a guy set on fire in that movie. You had them fighting, at the pier and both of them going under the water and coming out of the water. And somebody thought they were going to do something where Strowman would come out with Wyatt's head and then Wyatt would give the wink to the camera. Although that would just be a blatant ripoff of Freddy versus Jason. But they were trying to do elements of that movie, in my opinion, watching this. Ken Terminated by a DQ with a $5 super chat says, sorry, Rift, I disagree. Alexa's cameo made sense because Strowman is still dreaming about her as a shoot and work. Can you blame her, Aaron? Well, I guess if there was some kind of interaction between them, like recently. I mean, the Mixed Match Challenge happened, 2 years ago? I mean, most people have forgotten about it by now. I guess you could consider that a throwback, but still, like, was this a dream in Strowman's head? I don't know. I mean, I think the Cena thing just was better executed than this, in my opinion. And Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, was the Swamp match better than the Blair Witch Project? Yes. And I'll say any Ricochet promo was better than the Blair Witch Project. That one's for you, Psycho Jet Black. And I mean that, too. I'm not even joking. All right, guys. So, letter grade for the show. I don't even know what to say about it. Like, there were parts I enjoyed and parts I was just like, what the hell are they doing here? What is going on? I'm going to say this. I was not bored with the show. So that's something positive. I was never feeling like I just want this to be over. I was interested in what was going on. But do I think it was good? That's a different question. Scott Briller with a $5 super chat says, Aaron, do you think Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton could be the best wrestling match without fans? Possibly. I mean, will it be greater than the greatest wrestling match ever? That I don't know, but maybe WWE will come up with an even greater tagline for it. We'll have to see. By the way, WWE did announce SummerSlam August 23rd, so they're not delaying it. No venue announced. Probably going to be the Performance Center. Jerry Slaughter gives it a solid C. Ken gives it a C. Nick Lavin with a C+. Adrian with a C-. Kim with a C-. More Faves with a D-. Steve-O with a D. And Mike Nixon with a C-. Mike B with a C-. Matt Helms with a B. And Josh Mansfield with a B. Mike D with a C. I'm going to give it a C. And again, I wasn't bored with the show, but I think there was a lot of bad stuff on the show that balanced out the good stuff. Hence, going to give it a C. I'm going to say on the record, I think Slammiversary was an overall better quality show. Not production quality-wise necessarily, but just putting out good matches and having some nice surprises and just not doing any crazy shit that was going to backfire with people and create backlash. Hamp Kana with a $2 super chat says, D plus just for the Applebee's welcome back commercial. I didn't even know about that commercial. Maybe I have. I'm not even sure what you're talking about. Is it that bad, the Applebee's commercial? I guess I'll have to check it out now just to see if it's as bad as you claim. So that was the pay-per-view, everybody. Thank you all so much for tuning in tonight. And the This Guy Experience with a $2 super chat says, no custom set, what a waste of a tagline, shaking my head. I agree on that one. I think WWE should at least put in some effort. They did it for the Great American Bash. They did it for the In Your House pay-per-view. Why not for their main roster shows? I don't get it. Michael Gonzalez says, worst pay-per-view since Payback 2017. Wow. I mean, this might have been the worst pay-per-view of the cinematic / COVID era. I'm not sure. Hamp Kana with a $5 super chat says, the commercial is good. That's why I gave it at least a D+. Oh, okay. I get what you're saying now. So the commercial actually boosted it from an F. I thought you were ranking it lower because of the commercial, so I just misread you. Psycho Jet Black with the $2 super chat says, Bart Gunn would have made the swamp match better. Probably. I would have liked the Bart Gunn cameo. I'm hoping we'll get one during that barroom brawl this coming Friday on Smackdown. I mean, we got to have a Bart Gunn cameo in 2020 right after the Brawl for All episode of Dark Side of the Ring, right? That would be fun. But anyways, guys, I'm out for the night. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, subscribe, turn on notifications if you haven't already, and tell a friend. Spread the word. Stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest news and rumors, and I will see you guys next time.